What's up guys, I'm Newbie Dave and today we're fighting the Wither. Let's get started. Oh boy guys, this one just kind of snuck up on you, didn't it? When we fought the Ender Dragon, I gave you plenty of warning. We spent several episodes getting new armor, doing enchantments, getting potions. We really spent a lot of time preparing for the dragon fight, but we're just going to jump right into this one because we've really got everything we need already to go fight the Wither. So now we just need to go do it. Now, in my opinion, the Wither fight is much more difficult than the Ender Dragon, for a couple of reasons. One, the Wither has more hit points than the Ender Dragon. He's also a lot harder to hit, and he deals more damage over time. Like, his attacks aren't quite as powerful as the Ender Dragons, but he applies the Wither effect, which causes you to take damage over time. So that's really going to make it a lot harder to fight this guy. And so yeah, I think it's a harder fight than the dragon, which was why I did the dragon fight first. So let's talk about what we need to do to prepare for the Wither fight. Let's start with our gear. Our sword, this one's not going to cut it. Our sword has sharpness 4. Looting doesn't really matter. Breaking is fine, except we're not going to go through all the durability on a sword, so it doesn't really matter. Knockback doesn't matter. Mending doesn't really matter. Really nothing on this sword is going to help us for the Wither fight other than that it is a netherite sword and thus does a lot of damage. I mean, the sharpness 4, it does help. It gives me the plus 13 attack damage instead of, I think it would be plus 9 otherwise. But we can do better. So what we want to fight the Wither, because the Wither is an undead mob, we actually want the Smite enchantment instead of sharpness, because Smite is going to do 2.5 hit points of damage for each level of Smite. And so that's going to deal more damage to undead mobs than sharpness would do on its own. So I've got a bunch of enchanted books here. I've done some more AFK fishing. By the way, I also kind of organized this room a little bit. My chests were starting to overflow. So all of my fish are going to go in this chest now, which is already almost full, although a lot of these are just kind of placeholders. All of my enchanted books are going to go here. I got rid of a bunch of the enchanted fishing rods and bows that I had because, I mean, my fishing rod is pretty much as good as it's going to get, so I didn't need all those. And then this is just for more stuff, and this is like random things that don't go anywhere else, but I want to hold on to. So let's see if we have any enchanted books with Smite on them already, and that will save us a lot of time. Okay, so there's Smite 3. We'll take that. Okay, there we go. Smite 4. So we've got Smite 4. We've got Smite 3. I'll bring these with me. I'll see if I can enchant a sword and just naturally get Smite 5, and if not, Smite 4 is probably okay. That's going to make our sword deal an extra 10 damage to undead mobs on top of what it already deals, so that's pretty good. So I don't think we're going to need the Smite 3. Now, Smite is mutually exclusive with Sharpness and Bane of Arthropods and something else, I think. So we can't put it on our existing sword that has Sharpness on it already. So we're going to have to craft a new sword for this. It's probably just going to be a diamond sword, so it'll deal slightly less damage because of that. But with the Smite 4, it'll end up doing more damage than this one will. We're also going to want a bow, and I think our bow that we already have is going to be good enough. Let's see, our bow has Unbreaking 3, it's got Infinity, it's got Power 5. Yeah, this bow is definitely going to do the trick. There's no special enchantments for bows that are going to help versus the Wither, other than just making it as powerful as possible. The Flame effect isn't going to help us because the Wither isn't affected by Flame, so just having Power 5 is going to be really good. Now for our arrows, we only need one arrow because we have Infinity, but I am going to tip some of these with some potion effects, which I'll get to a little bit later. So now let's talk about our armor. Our armor is pretty rockin', but all 4 pieces have protection 4 on them. That's not going to be as good as what we could get because protection, it maxes out. We're not getting the full effect of having 4 pieces that all have protection 4 on them. So I want to replace 2 of these with blast protection because the Wither is going to do a lot of blast damage. And so getting some blast protection is going to help with that. Having protection 4 on the others will just help mitigate the rest of the damage. So let me see. I got a bunch of diamond gear from when I was raiding the end cities. So unfortunately, I don't think that one's got projectile protection. That's worthless. Yeah, none of these have blast protection on them, unfortunately. But this has mending, so I'll start with that. Curse of Binding, I don't want that, because with Curse of Binding, once you equip it, you can't unequip it. And since it's got mending, it's going to like heal itself, so that, I may just trash that, actually. Yeah, I don't think any of these others are going to really help us that much. Thorns will do slightly more damage when the Wither actually hits us with a melee attack, but really most of our damage is going to come from his the explosive skulls that he shoots, so that's not really going to help us much. So I think what I'll do, I'll take these legs and I'll take this headpiece and I'll disenchant this, and these will be the two that I enchant with blast protection. So let me go see if I have any enchanted books with blast protection. And let's see. Okay, blast protection 4, that's great. So we'll take that one. And that actually has Frostwalker, so that would help us with walking across water, which isn't going to come up during the Wither fight, but those could make for some good boots to use later as well. But yeah, I'm not going to enchant boots, so that's irrelevant. So it looks like we've only got the one book of blast protection, so we're just going to have to roll our luck for the other piece. Now I did also put a grindstone down here in my AFK fish farm, so I'm going to do this really fast. On the helmet that I'm going to trash just to get some of the XP back for mending. You can't disenchant any curses, so that's going to stay on there, but I can just go ahead and chunk this in the cauldron of lava to trash it. Now the helmet that has thorns on it, I'm also going to disenchant that so I can re-enchant it with whatever I want. I'll keep mending on those. I'll probably go ahead and put the enchanted book with blast protection 4 on those legs so I keep the mending. Oh, don't you just hate that? I'm in the safety of my house and I can't sleep because there are monsters nearby outside. Okay. Come on. Let's do this. You happy? Is that what you wanted? Good grief. Alright, so we're going to try to get blast protection 4. Okay. I did not plan that. I did not script that. That's just been my luck for this series, apparently. So get blast protection 4 on our helmet. We've got Aqua Affinity 1 and Respiration 2, so that might actually be a good helmet to use later for maybe exploring some underwater, like underwater temples and stuff. And then we can't enchant the pants because they've already got mending, but we'll use our enchanted book on those. So that that was pretty easy. Oh, and I've got my sword. I need to enchant my sword. So we've got Smite 4. What can we get if we just enchant this? Unbreaking. I'll take my chances with Unbreaking 3. Hopefully I don't get like Sharp Miss on there. Okay, Unbreaking 3, and then we'll throw on Smite 4 as well. Alright, so for the pants, we'll enchant these with Blast Protection and Mending. And then our sword, we're going to throw Smite 4 on there. And I'll just, for some reason, name this Anti-Wither Stick. Yeah, very creative. Alright, so one last piece of upgrade we can do. I've got 10 scraps of netherite. If I take these things, throw them into an enchanting table, I can get 2 netherite ingots, and with this we can upgrade 2 of our new diamond gear to netherite. And I think I'm going to go with the armor. Let me take a look at how much of a difference my sword is going to get from being upgraded to netherite. So this is going to do +7. If I upgrade it to netherite, it will do +8. And really the smite is going to add another 10, so just getting 1 more point of damage for a netherite isn't really that good. So I'm going to upgrade my diamond armor because that's going to give me a lot more just general damage reduction. Plus I get the knockback resistance, and since this guy is going to be throwing exploding skulls at us, I think that's going to come in handy. So there we go, 2 new pieces of netherite armor with blast protection, plus our existing armor that has regular protection. I think we've got ourselves as protected as we're going to get against the Wither. So let me swap these out. And I can't put both of these on my armor stand, so I'll stick them in my gear chest. No, I'll stick them in my my ender chest for now. Alright, so we've got our sword with smite, we've got our protection and blast protection armor, we've got our bow with power 5 and infinity. So let's talk about the potions that we're going to bring. Now, because of the wither effect that we're going to get from the wither, it's like poison, except it can kill you, whereas poison will just get you down to, I think, half a heart, and it won't deal any more damage past that. And so the wither effect is very dangerous. We have to be very careful about that. So we're going to start with some potions of regeneration. We want to be able to just naturally counter the wither effect. If we have regeneration that's slowly giving us health, it counters the wither effect that's slowly taking health away. So we'll start with some potions of regeneration. And normally I would extend this, but I'm going to go ahead and enhance this so that it works faster. So there we go, Potions of Regeneration 2. They'll only last for 22 seconds, but they're going to restore twice as much health per tick. I've got some other Potions of Regeneration in here. I'll go ahead and carry these and have them as backup, but I'm going to start with the Potions of Regeneration 2. We also want some Potions of Instant Health 2. This is just going to immediately restore 4 hearts of health, and so we can use this if we're getting super low on health and just need to save ourselves from dying really fast. But I'm going to take one of these, put it in my cauldron, and use the arrows on the cauldron to get 16 tipped arrows. So these arrows will now apply the Instant Health 2 effect when they hit your target. Now, why would I want to shoot arrows of instant health at the guy I'm trying to defeat? It's because the Wither is an undead mob, and undead mobs have the opposite reaction to healing and harming effects. So the instant health effect is actually going to harm the Wither, whereas the instant damage effect would heal him. So this is just going to make our arrows deal a little bit more damage. And because we only have 16 of these, if we run out, we'll use our regular arrow as backup. And when you have mixed arrows like this in your inventory, whichever one appears first is going to get used up before the ones that appear after that. So we'll make sure that these are in the first slot of our inventory, they'll get used up first, and then we'll just use regular arrows for the rest of the fight. Now I also want to bring some potions of strength. That's going to be the blaze powder. And we're also going to enhance this. The reason we're enhancing instead of extending everything is because we want this fight to be over with as soon as possible. The longer this fight goes on, the worse it's going to be for us. And so we want to be as powerful, as reactive as possible to just end it quickly. So there we go, Potions of Strength 2. So when we drink these, each of our attacks will deal 2 extra damage, plus the 17 that we're already going to be doing. So that means each hit's going to deal 19 damage against this guy, which is really going to help end this fight quicker. And then the last potion that we want is going to be Potions of Night Vision. We're going to be fighting this guy underground, and it can be hard to see, and we don't want to handicap ourselves any more than we have to. So we're going to make some night vision potions to just make sure that we can clearly see underground while we're fighting. And we'll go ahead and extend these to last longer because you get no benefit from enhancing a night vision potion. Alright, while we're waiting on our night vision potions to cook up, let's talk about the last couple of things we need to bring. If you have Totems of Undying, you definitely want to bring those with you. I don't have any Totems of Undying, I don't think, because I haven't done any raids yet. You get Totems of Undying from raids. A raid happens when you kill an illager that is carrying the banner. One of those banners right there. If you kill that illager inside of a village, it triggers a raid. The raid has several waves of illagers of increasing difficulty, and when you finally finish the raid, you get Totems of Undying. I think they drop from some of the illagers that you fight in the raid. But because I haven't done a raid, I don't have any Totems of Undying. What the Totem of Undying does is if you die while holding it, you immediately come back to life. And so you don't respawn back at your respawn point or the world spawn, you just respawn right there. You keep all of your stuff. Definitely worth bringing if you have them. We also want to bring a couple of buckets of milk. You just use an empty bucket on a cow, you get a bucket of milk. The reason we're bringing milk is because drinking a bucket of milk will remove any negative status effects that you have. Because the wither is going to give us the wither effect, drinking the milk will remove the wither effect. So if we're getting low on health and we run out of health potions or something, we can drink the milk to remove the effects so that we don't die. And finally, the last thing we're going to bring is chicken eggs. And it's probably going to be easier to just explain this when the time comes. So bring chicken eggs. All right, our night vision potions are done, so we'll bring these. Oh, and of course you're going to need 3 wither skulls and 4 soul sand. I've only got 3. You need 4 soul sand and 3 wither skulls to actually spawn the wither. And with that, I think we are ready to go. So you have a couple of options for fighting the wither. You could just spawn him above ground and just fight him up here on the surface. I find that incredibly difficult because the wither, he's going to fly around, and when you fight him up here on the surface, he has plenty of room to move, and it just makes him very hard to attack. So what I like to do, and pretty much what I've seen everybody else on YouTube do, is you go underground and dig a long tunnel and fight him underground. It's going to restrict his movement, it's going to make him a lot easier to hit, and it's going to keep the damage that he's going to cause confined to underground. Plus, I have a respawn point down here, so if worse comes to worse and we do die, we'll respawn here and can immediately get back into the fight. Now, I don't want to fight this guy anywhere near my base, so I'm actually going to come way down here. I'm going to continue this hallway that I've started, and then I'm going to turn and go this way, and I'm probably going to go like 100 blocks in this direction because I want to get really far away from my base. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because, like I said, the Wither, he's going to be shooting a bunch of Wither skulls at us that explode and deal lots of damage. And depending on how long this fight lasts, it's just going to really tear up the area around us where we're fighting. And I don't want to do that anywhere near my base. I don't want to run the risk of like exploding anything that might make its way up to my surface, up to the surface under my base, and just I don't want to deal with that. If you want to be super paranoid, you could even like take the nether portal and go somewhere really far away from your base so that if you do die, there's not a Wither just roaming around under your base tearing things up. But I have complete confidence that we will be able to do this in one shot, so I'm going to just do it right here, but far away from my base. Oh hey look, diamonds! I was not looking for these, but they just happen to be in this little underground water area that I dug out. And my inventory's full. Holy smokes, I almost forgot one of the most important things to bring. I was looking at my hotbar to make sure everything was in order, and I forgot to bring my golden apples. So golden apples, just like for the End Dragon fight, these are going to be the best food that you can bring for this fight because they give you some defense, they also give you some regeneration, they give you some extra hearts so that you don't lose health as fast. I appear to be out of golden apples, so I'll need to make a couple more. So I'll bring 5. I also have this enchanted golden apple. We'll start with that. And yeah, I think this will be good. I think this will be enough. Now before we actually get started, I'm going to dig a couple of little just sort of safety holes. And what these are going to do is they'll give us a place to kind of retreat backwards and duck into if we need to. Like if we need to drink our potions or a milk or something so that we're not in the line of fire while we're doing those things. So I'm going to do one there. I'll do another one right here. And that should be good. Hopefully we'll be done with the fight before we need to come back this far. Alright, so let's double check our supplies and clean up our inventory before we get started. So we've got our potions of healing and regeneration to help combat the wither effect that we're going to get during the fight. We've got our potions of strength. We're going to wait until the second stage of this fight before we use these. The fight is kind of broken up into 2 stages. During the first stage, we can hit the wither with a bow and arrow, which will be a lot easier than trying to attack him with our sword. But during the second stage, he gets the shield around him. It deflects any ranged attacks, and so we're going to have to move in close and use our sword. That's when we'll pop the potions of strength. We've got our potions of night vision to help us see, because as you can see, it's very dark down here, and if we try to put torches, they would just get destroyed when the wither started exploding stuff. We've got some backup potions of regeneration. We've got our milk to remove the wither effect if we need to. We've got our weapons, the soul sand and wither skulls to actually summon the wither. And then we've got our chicken eggs. So let me explain what the deal with the chicken eggs is. Any mobs that the wither kills during the fight, they will turn into, or they will drop wither roses. And a wither rose is just it's a flower that you can plant. You can put it in a flower pot, you can put it in the ground, and it looks like a black rose, and any mob, including you, that walks into it will get the wither effect. It's not that great, like we're not getting it because of the effect that it produces. It's just another item in the game. It's kind of a rare item because this is the only way to get it is by having the wither kill a mob. And so where we spawn the wither, which will be this little room that I'm digging out, we'll throw these chicken eggs in here, we'll summon some chickens, and then at the start of the fight, the wither will kill the chickens, and their brave sacrifice will get us these rare items. Alright, so I've dug out a little room like this. I think it's about 6 blocks by 4. Specific dimensions aren't that important as long as it's big enough to hold the wither. So I'm going to throw a bunch of these eggs in here. And then this is how I'm going to have my hotbar organized for the actual fight. I got my weapons up front, followed by my potion of strength. I got a couple building blocks. The wither can destroy absolutely anything in the game except for bedrock. So even if we use obsidian, it wouldn't completely protect us, but it would like deflect one of the skulls. So we can use these if we need to. I'll put my regeneration and health potions and milk and everything at the end of my toolbar. And so I think we are ready to go. So to summon the wither, you're going to put down 4 soul sand like this in a T pattern. And then on top of these, you're going to put the 3 wither skulls. Now, as soon as I place this 3rd skull, the wither will summon and the fight will begin. Now, you don't want to do this against the back wall or the side walls, or else the wither could spawn in the wall and then he'll like just move through it. So make sure you do this in the middle of the room. So here we go. So the fight is on. I'm going to go ahead and start with my enchanted apple. Now, while he's in this white effect, you can't hit him. Oh boy, here we go. So yeah, this first phase, he's just going to start destroying everything around him. Try to stay in the tunnel and attack him when you get visibility on him. But try to stay around the corner. You can see these arrows with the healing are doing massive damage against him. Okay, so once you get the blue force field around him, stop using your bow. He's going to summon 3 wither skeletons. We're going to take them out first. And now we just got to take our strength potion and charge in and do as much damage as we can against this guy. Just run at him. Don't worry about running off. Just go full kamikaze on him and then back off, because he is going to explode and do a lot of damage. I'll drink my health potions. Whew, that went a whole lot better than I was expecting, honestly. So that was amazing. That fight went really fast. I'm sorry I didn't have a whole lot of time to sort of narrate what I was doing, because it went so fast and was very hectic. Let's see what we got. So let me get rid of a bunch of these blocks that I picked up. I didn't get any wither roses. I don't know what happened to my wither. Oh, there we go. There was one. Is that all I got? 1 wither rose. Well, that's sad. I guess we'll just have to do it again sometime. But the real prize from this fight is this little guy, the nether star. So with this nether star, we can craft a beacon, and that is going to really help us out with a lot of aspects of the game. Let me get rid of this. You can see how much damage and destruction this fight caused. This is why you want to do this really far away from your base. Oh look, more diamonds. This game just loves giving me diamonds. So yeah, sorry I wasn't able to do a whole lot of narrating during the fight, but it was just very quick, very fast paced. And as you can see, once you get everything set up correctly, it's not that hard as long as you pay attention to your health and deal massive amounts of damage very, very quickly. If you try to play it safe and like hang back and shoot at a distance and duck behind the walls and everything, the fight's going to last a lot longer. The wither's going to do a lot more destruction, which is going to make him harder to hit, and it's just going to be a much harder fight. So you really just want to run in there, do as much damage as fast as you can, and just get it over with. You do need to be careful at the very beginning of the fight. I forgot to mention this. When you first summon the wither, after his health bar fills up, before the fight actually begins, he's just going to explode and do a lot of damage really close to him. And so you want to back off and wait for the fight to start. He also does another blast when he dies and when the second phase of the fight begins. Now there is a way to fight the wither that's even easier than this by cheesing the game, and to do this we need to go back to the end. Now, by the way, you may notice my nether workroom is a little bit different. I had to sink the floor down by half a block because I built this thing out of slabs, but I built them on the top of the blocks, and so it wasn't actually spawn proof. And I came in here one day to find not only a full-size magma cube, but a ghast had spawned in my workroom, and we just can't have that. So I took the whole floor, sunk it down 1 level, sunk it down half a block and just put some stairs around the outside to make it look a little bit nicer. And so now this thing should be spawn proof. So I'm going to head over to my nether portal that takes me to the end portal that'll take me to the end. Alright, so here we are back in the end. I'm going to go back to the center where the portal to take you over to the overworld is. And you are going to need some obsidian. If you didn't bring any with you, if you are out, don't worry, there is plenty of obsidian here that you can borrow. Alright, so here I am at the portal that's at 0, 0. This will take you back to the overworld. Now, this is where we're going to spawn the wither, but we're going to spawn it underneath this bedrock platform, and we need to be on a certain side. We need to be on the west side. Now, to find the west side, you can either look at your coordinates. You can see my x coordinate is increasing as I move this way and decreasing as I move this way. So when you are facing west, your x coordinate will decrease. You can also plant a sunflower. You can bring a dirt block and plant a sunflower in it. Sunflowers always face east, and so you can use that to figure out which way is west. I brought an empty locator map that I'm going to use, and so this will show me which way I'm facing as I turn. So right now I am facing north, I'm facing south, and now I'm facing west. So this is west. We want to be on the west side of this end portal, which means we'll be facing east. This is so important. You have to do this on the correct side of the portal or else it's not going to work. So I'm going to put a block of dirt there just to mark which side of this is west so I don't forget. And then we need to dig underneath, get underneath this platform that has the portal in it. Now don't worry, this thing is built out of bedrock. You could sit here and just mine this all day and it's never going to break. You can't break bedrock, so you don't have to worry about accidentally breaking the portal and not being able to get back to the overworld. So the portal itself is 2 blocks deep, and so we need to go down below that. And I want to dig 3 blocks below the bedrock. So I'm going to go down 3 levels like this. And then I'm going to dig out this entire space below the bedrock. It should make a 5 by 5 room that is 3 blocks tall. Alright, so I got this whole thing dug out. You can see it's 5 by 5. That's the entire platform, and we're 3 blocks below it. Now, you don't have to worry about digging so far that you're going to accidentally fall through to the void. This island is, I don't know, it's like 30 or 40 blocks deep, so you got plenty of room to work with. Now, we are still on the west side of this thing, facing east. I want to find the exact center of this thing, which is right there. And below that, I'm going to place a block of obsidian. A block of obsidian right there. Now, this is okay because we're actually going to extend it this way. The reason we're using obsidian is because obsidian has the highest blast value in the game, and even though the wither's blue skulls can destroy obsidian, his initial blast when you first spawn him can't. And so that is very, very important. We want these obsidian blocks to stay here for the entire duration of the fight and not get destroyed. So you need at least 3 blocks. If you want, you can just fill this entire floor with obsidian, but these 3 are the bare minimum. So we're going to summon the wither, and when I built the wither, structure that summons him in the overworld, I built it upright. You can also build this thing sideways. And so I'm going to place my first block right there on the very edge of the bedrock. That is so important. Don't place it here on the obsidian, place it on the bedrock. And then the other 3 are going to go next to it like this. So it's basically just sideways, and this right here is the top. So this is where we're going to place the 3 wither skulls. And again, make sure you're on the west side, because if this fails, you're going to be fighting the wither in the end, and I can't think of a worse place to fight the wither. So you don't want to mess this up. So now when I place the 3rd skull, it summons the wither, but he is now stuck in the bedrock. And so once you're going to back up so we don't get hit by the initial blast. And now he's stuck in the bedrock. He can't go anywhere. He's shooting his skulls, but they're spawning in the bedrock, so they're just blowing up right away. And you can see his health is actually going down. He is suffocating. He is taking damage from being stuck in the bedrock. So we can literally just sit back and let the game destroy the wither for us. Now, I've seen mixed things about whether or not you need to actually hit the wither or whether you need to get the last hit. Like if you need to be the one that kills him, not him suffocating. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and attack him anyways, just because it speeds up the process. Like, why not kill him as fast as possible? And I think I can even get in here. Whoa, I'm going to back up so I don't get hit by that blast. Yeah, and so the wither skeletons that he spawns when his shield appears, they also get stuck in the bedrock, and they also suffocate and die. So now I'm just going to get in here and start hitting him. And now back away when you do finally defeat him so you don't get hit by that final blast. And there we go. We just fought the wither, took no damage. So, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. So as long as you get the initial configuration correct, you need to start on the west side, you need to summon him on the west side, you need to put obsidian below this thing, and the game will just defeat him for you. So there's a free nether star, and all we had to do was, build the thing. Now, if you don't like that, if you think it takes the fun and excitement out of the game, then just follow the first half of this video to safely fight him in the overworld. But for me, free nether stars is definitely the way to go. That's going to wrap things up for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you learned something about how to safely fight the wither. Not only did we get one, but we got 2 nether stars that we can use to make beacons. I'm going to cover that in my weekend update, so check back on Sunday to learn more about beacons. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day.